This movie's pretty good. It reminds me of the Polar Express movie because it's a movie on the train and a lot of the characters don't have names. I mean, sometimes they do. Like in the actual cast, they have like these basic things that are just descriptions, like absurd man or smart woman or um shit like that. But during the actual movie, sometimes they'll call characters by their names. One dude, his name is like Nerd with glasses, or Man with glasses, or something like that. And that is the subtitles for like 90% of the movie. But like during his death scene, his name is apparently Matt, and they say it a lot. And this one girl dies, and they say her name is Kate. They say, "Where's Kate?" But they had like never called her that in the entire movie. So you're almost like, who the fuck is Kate? And there's this one dude that's referred to as the football guy in the cast, in the subtitles, and even in the movie. They call him the football guy went to the bathroom. But like right when he dies, they say Paul screaming in the subtitles. So I think that part was confusing. I think what they were going for is like, them being strangers, not really knowing each other's names, because they actually have a character that does die after, not too long after she starts bonding with this mom that also has a child. And she is a kid that has a good relationship with her mom. And when she dies, she's like, "Oh, what was her name?" And she's like, I don't know. Though she does introduce herself as Nina to Billy. She also tries to smoke like twice in this movie. Once in a no smoking area, and then the second time by a fuel line. She also accuses a man of being a pervert. I still think she's a decent character. She's just, a teenager that made mistakes. And she definitely didn't deserve to die. You also have the typical douchey character that cheats on his wife and only cares about himself. Which, is a lot like in Train to Busan, the zombie movie where everyone's stuck on the train. But that's like a big ass train. This is a smaller train. I still think they should have done like a lot of different things. They make a lot of smart decisions and a lot of dumb decisions. Like the movie characters are definitely way smarter than they normally would be in a horror movie. Um, like they all stick together besides occasionally, like when the dude goes to the bathroom. They literally stick together. They don't even say they should. There isn't a moment where like we have to stick together. No, they just stick together. They know what they should do. The werewolves look pretty amazing, but unfortunately, this movie goes for, mocking the whole werewolf thing and it being too silly. Where the Matt finally decides, say, well, everyone knows that that creature is a werewolf. And the asshole dude is like, what, like silver bullets and a full moon? And he's like, no, I don't think that, but that's clearly a werewolf, a cross between a wolf and a man. So that's what they kind of, do with that. That these are just crazy creatures that got infected, mutated, something. and it's happened before in the 60s, apparently. They confirm it in the movie that, like, there was also a train crash in the 60s, and a lot of people were straight up missing or half eaten, and they never did find out what happened to them. So there's that little backstory they add. They also have the asshole character like get out of character like a few times. Like he's an asshole, only cares about himself, but he tries to save the old man twice. And they also have like kind of subtle foreshadowing with a lot of stuff, and I do like the fact that like a lot of the times where characters say that it's gonna most likely screw them over, ends up doing that. Like Joe doesn't want to leave the train because they all need to go together, and it's not regulation to let passengers just leave during situations like this. So his final excuse is like, hey, you can't really take the old people out there, it'll slow us down. They feel insulted, but they end up being kind of right when the old woman just is about to barely make it in the train and she gets attacked by a werewolf. Though it wasn't entirely her fault. The one asshole dude is like, closed the door, and then someone closes the door, and her foot is still out there. But even if she got fully in and then they closed the door, I think the werewolf probably would have been able to get in if they didn't close the door. But that would just leave them in the situation that they had way later in the movie where the werewolf gets in and they supposedly, they all are beaten down on it and they kill it in a pretty awesome scene where they're all working together to fight it. And then the Matt dude kills it with an axe by going overkill, what people really want to happen in the movies, but it does survive. Because Joe has to finish the job with a fire extinguisher. Because I guess fire extinguishers do more damage than an axe. Like he's going ham on it with the axe. Most likely on its head, though we don't fully see where he's killing it, though it looks like he's going for the head. And I get a fire extinguisher can obviously do some damage, but more than an axe? And then Joe kills it with the fire extinguisher later, but it's too late because it already howled and called for help. Though that help literally doesn't matter because none of the werewolves come to the train. The only reason the werewolves come to the train is because, like, one of the people somewhat survived, Nina, and she starts asking for help, and Matt hears her, so he goes in the forest, and then the werewolves come to the train. So I really don't get why that happened. Though that's like a really cool moment. So I wish they would have stuck with it. It just feels out of place now. But you're telling me in this universe, werewolves are just living in the forest by train tracks and nobody's gotten like pictures of it or something? Or proof, video recordings, anything? Some crazy asshole goes into the forest, hears about the rumors with like a shotgun or something and goes crazy. People, if the werewolves can be killed by like a fire extinguisher, then I think a few crazy people could just go out there with guns and shit and get their proof. And that also means that You know, since they don't transform and stuff, because the last kill of the movie and the ending scene of the movie is the asshole dude being killed in broad sunlight by werewolves. So, these werewolves are just walking around. What are they doing? Nobody goes into that forest apparently. And they just stay in the forest. It's like their only place. They leave the forest for the train and shit. I just really don't get how that works. Even though they are werewolves, I think they would die of starvation eventually. But I think that's about it. I still think it's a really good movie, though.